Finally, the last one, hunting scrapes is tactically sound, and they're saying that that's a myth, that it's not tactically sound to hunt over scrapes.
So they're saying that's saying it's not a good idea to hunt scrapes?
Not a good idea to hunt over scrapes.
I'm far from an expert, that's for sure, on this subject, but I would say you can hunt scrapes if you know which ones to hunt. And I'm basically taking this off of some of what we've seen and what guys that know a lot more than me know. And I know Dan's talked about it depends on which scrapes you set up on. If you're setting up on field edge scrapes, it's probably not going to be very reliable. But if you're setting up on those scrapes that are right outside the bedding areas, it's going to be a little bit more reliable for you and a little bit, easier to hunt, and you'll get better results, I think.
Yeah, so I wrote down, I'm not really sure where I stand but like you said, I think it has a lot of that activity happens at night. But like you said, if you set up close to the bedding and there's a scrape, like I think Warb shot a buck, I don't know if it was when you were down there or the year after on his dad's place, over a scrape, and the buck was checking it, obviously not in the dark, but that one was closer to bedding. Then if you hit these field edge scrapes where a lot of guys on public like to sit, even private land guys like to sit on those food plots, I think that's where you get to the point where he's not going to check it until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and then that's why you think it's not tactically sound, where if you move back to the bedding area ones, it's a perfectly acceptable way, to get your deer. So.
I think it all kind of runs together a little bit in saying that you got to be where the deer are. If that scrape is close to where that deer is, then you're probably going to see him there. If it's far away and he's not going to get there till night, then you're probably not going to see him, and scrapes may not be reliable. So I think it's putting all that together, being situational tactics, as they all say, and kind of putting that together to hunt scrapes.
As we say, it all depends on probably location. It's what that scrape is relative to as to whether it's good. So,
and same thing with rubs too, location.
Yeah.
You can find rubs everywhere, but if you're finding them in a buck bed, that means a little bit more than finding it on the edge of a field. So same thing with that, location.
Yep. So I think the key with a lot of those is just that none of them are ever 100%, but a lot of them might be more overblown and talked about than they actually are. But we've talked about it just in the few episodes we've done of this podcast already. Everything's situational, everything's different, nothing is 100% absolute. As much as the hunting industry wants you to believe that, whether it be a product or what they're, telling you on their show, nothing is absolute. There's always an exception to the rule. That's true with just about anything.